Territory has Borno 26, Kaduna 23, and Rivers has 21. Ebonyi 17, Kwara 16, while Katsina has 14. Edo, Delta, Kano, and Bauchi have 10 each. Bayelsa has 9, Imo 8, Plateau 4, Ondo 3, Nasarawa 2, Gombe and Oyo have 1 each. So far, there are 11,516 cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. 3,535 have been discharged with 323 deaths. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has decried the steady rise in maternal and child mortality in the country, attributing the trend to the disruption of essential services in the health sector due to the coronavirus pandemic. Mitari Ikpen reports on this and other issues that dominated the PTF briefing.
PTF lamented that the fear of COVID-19 among health workers is leading to more avoidable deaths.
We've also seen life-saving maternal, newborn and child health services, routine vaccinations, access to care for chronic conditions such as HIV and other treatments not being delivered in our hospitals. And people need to be able to access care.
New criteria for discharging confirmed cases of COVID-19 were announced.
If you're symptomatic, you can be discharged if you have had 3 days without symptoms, in addition to at least 10 days of symptoms. If you're asymptomatic, we can discharge you. You can be discharged 14 days after your first PCR positive test. So we no longer have to wait for a negative test to discharge. You can be discharged 14 days after your first positive with confidence that you can go home, that you're no longer infective, and you're not at risk you're not putting your family, your friends, or anyone else at risk if you're asymptomatic.
The task force, however, advises against self-medication for COVID-19.
WHO continues to emphasize there is still no evidence that hydroxychloroquine or any other drug is effective in treating or preventing COVID-19.
States and local governments are urged to take ownership of managing the pandemic in their domains.
State oversight of this phase of the response is very critical. The response needs to be decentralized to the local government level, identifying high-burden local governments to rapidly trace, test, and treat cases.
The daily epidemic curve of confirmed cases shows a consistently rising trajectory with corresponding increase in fatalities.
The task force emphasized that it is not a procurement body and does not award contracts, urging the public to beware of fraudsters. In Abuja, Mitari Ikpen, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo led members of the Economic Sustainability Committee in an interaction with the leadership of the National Assembly and the draft sustainability plan ahead of the submission of the plan to the President. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The virtual meeting, unquote, from the presidential villa was attended by the Senate President, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and several other principal officers of the National Assembly. As Vice President Yemi Osinbajo explained, the Economic Sustainability Committee called the meeting to consult with the National Assembly before the committee's report is submitted to Mr. President. Present members of the National Assembly, the Vice President noted that the President had always commended the good working relationship between the executive arm of the federal government and the current National Assembly. He added that it is very clear that COVID-19 has presented the country with an enormous economic challenge and also an opportunity. Both the Senate President and the Speaker welcomed the plan and commended the President and the Vice President for calling the meeting to enable the legislative arm of government to review the plan and make comments. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
To successfully flatten the curve in the fight against COVID-19, individuals as well as communities must act responsibly by practicing preventive measures of COVID-19. This came to fore during a sensitization by the National Orientation Agency in collaboration with party state government. Cameron Kaneng-Ladoja reports that they took the campaign to Jos North local government area and the Bongom Jos Palace.
There have been different campaigns and sensitizations on COVID-19, and with the usual messages on social distancing, personal hygiene, and wearing of face masks, and this campaign was not different. The NOA decided to go a step further and asked that the fight must be owned by individuals, especially in Jos North local government area, the epicenter of the disease in Plateau State.
The people must own the fact that this disease is real, and that is the most important thing, that they must own the project. If the people don't own the project, then or they don't own the campaign, then it makes it very, very difficult.
The government has made policies on this COVID-19, but there is no ownership of the policy. A public policy must be owned by the people. It is when it is owned by the people that they will drive it.
And so they took the campaign to the Bongom Jos to seek his royal nod and support from the State Traditional Council, to which the Bongom Jos obliged, but asked that the campaign should include ways to boost one's immune system against the virus.
When people talk about we need to go and worship God, worshiping God is not about a particular location. What we call church, that is not the building. It's you and me that is the building, that is the church. What you call a mosque, that building is not looking for salvation. It's you and me that go there that is looking for salvation. It's just an avenue for us to congregate together.
At the Jos North Local Government Secretariat, the theme was received by the Local Government Management Committee Chairman, and he said the campaigns must be sustained.
One way or the other, all the citizens are responsible. They have a stake in fighting the spread of coronavirus.
The motorized campaign, which is a nationwide event, has as its theme communicating government policies and activities. Be responsible. Do your part to rid Nigeria of COVID-19. In Jos, Cameron Kaneng-Ladoja, NTA News.
As efforts intensify to flatten the curve of COVID-19 pandemic, various health professionals and institutions are advocating increased research into the novel virus and consistent evaluation of the fight. The latest coming from the new president of Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, Professor Innocent Uja, while briefing journalists on the efforts to halt further spread of the virus. Indeyang and Debagang reports.
With the rising cases of coronavirus pandemic in the country now at community transmission level, the medical experts said the healthcare system has taken a hit as the pandemic has further widened the healthcare delivery gap in the country. The NMA president is optimistic that with commitment of health workforce, monitoring and coordination, the COVID-19 battle will be won.
Unless we obey the rules, we follow the protocol. There are two easiest ones to work to comply with. One, hand washing. Two, face mask use. But if you go to town, what is the compliance level of face mask? What's the compliance level? That is what we're talking about, research. And it's not a big thing. All you need to do is just to stay on the road and be counting people who are wearing face mask. If you have 100 and only 5 or 10 are wearing face mask, you know that phase has failed. Therefore, you must devise a strategy to modify. The media is doing its best. We need community, we need town criers. We need town criers, we need community and religious and traditional rulers to talk to their people.
So we have this powerful interprofessional body that is currently working with the state government, guiding government on advice. We have gone to inspect areas for isolation and treatment. We have been giving government all the necessary support, including, producing hand sanitizers and some other materials needed in curbing this pandemic.
The medical experts are optimistic that complying with the COVID-19 protocol is key to containing the disease. In Jos, Indenyan and the Abajang NTA News.
In the studio, there is the Executive Chairman of Shandam Local Government Area of Plateau State and Chairman Southern Zone Algon, Ms. Alex Nantom. You're welcome on Panorama.
It's a great pleasure to be here.
Okay, let's start by asking you, as Chairman of Shandam Local Government Area, which is one of the 17 local government areas of Plateau State, what is the awareness level and compliance in your local government area to COVID-19 protocols and measures?
Yes, thank you very much. Very quickly, when our attention was drawn to the fact that the NCDC, the state government, has come up with a protocol that is required to be followed by all the chairmen, what we did quickly was to create the needed committees. And as I speak now, I would score the level of compliance quite high, because people have come to terms with the reality that COVID-19 has partially come to stay with us, and should we fail to heed to the protocols, it portends great danger. So the level of compliance is quite appreciable, and it's commendable.
Okay, so from that last report, we hear the NMA complaining of people not complying sufficiently with the measures, and that could be the reason for community transmission. As an Algon executive, how can the body tackle this?
Yes, what we have done by deliberate effort first is to create subcommittees that are in charge of awareness and creating preventive measures. What we've done is they've gone into the nook and cranny of the 325 electoral wards on the plateau, and they've created awareness, conscious of the fact that our people can be very spiritual and religious about it. Therefore, the traditional institution, the religious leaders, the youth organizations, and of course the political leaders have all come to terms, and we've gone around the 325 electoral wards, and we've educated the people on the need to heed to the protocols, that is on prevention measures, that is observing social distancing, avoiding overcrowding, washing our hands regularly, and the use of hand sanitizers. And of course, the use of face masks is one of those things we have educated our people, and I think they are heeding to the advice.
And what's the success rate of that particular?
Yes, like I said earlier, I would score our people very, very high, because we've engaged, we've worked very, very hard on reducing community transmission by educating the people on the dangers of not heeding to the protocols as set out by NCDC, the PTF, and the Plateau State government, and of course by extension all the 17 local governments. The level of compliance is quite high, but the challenge is very simple. You know, our people are mostly menialists, so they struggle to get their source of livelihood. That has posed a serious challenge, but we are working on that. We are working on their psyche, and we are getting the desired result.
Okay, so what has the body done in respect to inter-local government travels?
Okay, we have consciously talked to ourselves as executive chairman of the 17 local governments and the other 4 management committee chairmen. What we did was to really engage those communities, letting them know that there is danger in allowing people move from one local government to the other. By using the various security agencies and all the committees, particularly those on border patrol and management, we've been able to contain or reduce the movements of people, except those on essential services. And that has really helped. You must agree with me that it has really helped, because the community spread is being managed drastically.
Okay, so before we let you go, what would be your last word to Nigerians, especially those living in rural areas?
But very quickly, I must commend all media organizations, particularly the NTA and other media organizations, for doing a great job by coming up with jingles, awareness programs such as this to educate our people. I will call on our people to remain steadfast and heed strictly to advice or instructions or orders or regulations as issued out by government. If we do that, sooner than later, we'll be done with COVID-19.
Okay. So I've been speaking with Ms. Alex Nantom, Chairman of Shandam Local Government Area of Plateau State and Chairman Algon Plateau Southern Zone. Thank you for coming.
It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Panorama continues after this break. To have you back. A bank robbery in Isanlu, Yagba East local government area of Kogi State has left several persons dead, including a DPO. Reports say the robbers were able to force their way into the bank in the afternoon and allegedly carted away valuable items and cash. Special advisor to the Kogi State Governor on Security, Jerry Omodara, who spoke to NTA correspondent Francis Udoja behind the camera, said investigations are still ongoing on the incident. Calm has, however, been restored to the area. Meanwhile, Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello has prevailed on security agencies in the state to go after the criminals who carried out Thursday's bank robbery in Isanlu and attack on a police station, which led to the death of some persons, including police personnel on duty. Governor Bello gave the directive in a statement released by his Chief Press Secretary Onogu Mohammed in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, while condoling family of those who lost loved ones in the unfortunate attack. Governor Bello described the incident as unacceptable, dastardly and cowardly, imploring security operatives to apprehend the perpetrators. Bello charged residents of the state to readily assist the security operatives in their own way by providing useful information to help combat crime in the state. He said the state's hospitality should not be taken as gateway for criminal elements, assuring the people that government will protect them from the hands of criminals. The governor has also directed security agents to strengthen surveillance and intelligence gathering that could lead to arrest of the criminals. At a time when humanity is gasping for breath in the battle to survive, comes a pandemic suspected to be rooted in the wild. Global attention now remains fixed on better ways to interact with Mother Earth. In commemorating World Environment Day 2020, the United Nations believes it is time for man to focus on the roles nature plays in providing infrastructure needed to support life on Earth and human development. Onengiye Fineface reports.
World Environment Day 2020 acknowledges it is time for people to pay attention to nature, on which humans depend for health, water, food, medicines, and other essentials for healthy living.
There's a lot of plants of medicinal value that are becoming extinct, a lot of animals that are endangered and becoming extinct. The butterflies are practically disappeared from our environment, and they're not just for beautification, they actually aid in pollination and give us fruits. So as we celebrate this World Environment Day, we need to appreciate nature, we need to reflect, and we need to take definite steps to conserve nature.
Time for nature. The theme for World Environment Day 2020 advocates deliberate action from individuals, communities, and governments of the world to protect, conserve, and respect other lives on Earth.
Everyone should join one bird club or the other. Abuja has its own, the Abuja Bird Club. There are bird clubs all over Nigeria. We go out, we watch, we explore nature, we take the statistics, we look at how nature is thriving. Over the years, we can have a pattern of improvement or degradation. Then we know how to mitigate.
In line with this commemoration, Nigeria has policies to conserve its biodiversity, some of which include planting of 25 million trees and ongoing efforts at cleaning pollution-impacted sites in the Niger Delta region.
As a nation, Nigeria remains committed to maintaining a healthy environment and safeguarding our ecosystems. The pandemic has shown us that we need to find ways to live in harmony with one another and, of course, with nature.
Creating time for nature affords man the opportunity to address deforestation, climate variations and change, biodiversity loss, pollution, ozone depletion, and other unhealthy environmental practices. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Welfare of officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army is utmost in the agenda of the Chief of Army Staff. This necessitated the inspection of completed projects at 3 Division Maxwell Kobe Cantonment funded by the Office of the Army Chief. Vinred Sylvanus Lot has details.
The projects inspected by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Burate, include the Multipurpose Cooperative Office, Nawa Model School, the Rhino Supermarket, 3D Medical Services and hospitals. Top among the inspected projects is the Multipurpose Dam and Integrated Water Treatment Plant, as the Commander 43 Engineer, Brigadier General Festus Briggs, detailed the Chief of Army Staff about the projects. Among the completed projects is this 54 million cubic liter dam, which not only supplies water to the entire barracks, but to its surrounding villages. Speaking on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff, the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sagir Musa, said all the projects are to ensure the comfort of the families of the men and soldiers, especially those at the war front.
Of being in headquarters, 3 Division Nigerian Army, the purpose of the visit by the Chief of Army Staff is to assess the level of progress made in the ongoing works. Many of them, like you have seen. The key point here is that the welfare of Nigerian Army personnel is one of the topmost priorities of the Chief of Army Staff.
The General Officer commanding 3DIV, Major General Nuhu Angbazo, was commended for a job well done in supervising the projects. From the Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Rinret Silvanus Lot, NTA News.
The Plateau State Command of the Nigerian Police Force has reiterated its commitment to ridding Plateau State of criminal elements and keeping it safe. The Commissioner of Police, Mr. Edward Igbuka, said this while parading apprehended suspects in a joint raid on criminal hideout in the state. Ekemeren Kanengladoja reports.
Those apprehended are 2 suspected armed robbers who allegedly invaded the residence of Reverend Canon Bayo James of Agape Mission Messiah College, Ganarop Village in Birkinladi local government area, as well as some notorious armed robbers around Guarandok, Shaka, Abattoir areas in Jos. 2 suspected kidnappers were arrested in Kanke for kidnapping a farmer, Alhaji Amadou Jipji, and demanding a ransom of 10 million naira, with another suspect paraded for kidnapping and culpable homicide, where one Abacha Luguda was murdered and buried over a land dispute. Others were paraded for criminal conspiracy and unlawful possession of firearms. These are results of the joint raid, Mr. Ibuka explained as he read the riot act to criminals in the state.
The police, working hands in glove with the military and other security agencies, will leave no stone unturned in fishing out criminal elements disturbing the peace on the plateau. We will take a step further by going out for them anywhere they are.
The commissioner added that adequate security arrangements have been put in place to guarantee the security of lives and properties in the state. In Jos, Ekemeren Kanengladoja, NTA News.
Let's now join Deji Makinde for Sports Update.